Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have Vivek Ramaswamy on the importance of diversity of thought. Now, this comes to us thanks to good old Twitter, or as 17 people call it, X. And, excuse me, yeah, Vivek Ramaswamy saying, quote, "In the name of diversity, we've completely sacrificed the true diversity of thought. In the name of inclusion, we've created an exclusionary culture where certain views just aren't welcome," unquote. And this went viral, as the youth might say, getting 1.4 million views and 19,000 likes. And this is a brief clip. It looks like it when he was over in Des Moines, Iowa. I know that's not Des Moines, but go Hawkeyes. They're more Iowa City, but nevertheless.
She's a professor at Drake University who teaches in the College of Business and Education. She's a Republican from West Des Moines who is undecided. Claire?
Thank you, Abby. Thank you also for...
I just got to stop right there. How many people are really undecided? We've had a lot of data. We've had multiple debates. You've had multiple interviews. A lot of information just at your fingertips on the Twitter sphere, on all social media, where you can look up every candidate and know his opinion on most of the hot topics by now. Though I do think it's hilarious. There are still some people, and you'll see this even when we get to the point where it's inevitably, I think, with his polls on all the data we have now, it'll be Trump versus Biden again in 2024. Even then, if there's I can't fathom there being undecided voters, because we've seen both career tracks of both gentlemen. We've seen their voting patterns. We've seen we have the track records. We know what they'll do. And yet there will still be people like 2 or 3 debates into the 2024 election that going, I just don't know. Really? But another topic for another time, perhaps.
For spending time with our students at Drake. As a professor, I think it's super important that we get that opportunity, so thank you for spending time with them. As president, what specific strategies would you implement to promote diversity and inclusion in leadership roles within both public and private sectors? How do you plan to support the advancement of underrepresented groups, including women, in these areas?
So I'll be very honest with you. I'm going to share with you Thomas Sowell quote that stuck with me. If you care about somebody, you tell them the truth, or at least what you believe. If you care about yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. And I have a feeling I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear on this one. So I think the diversity, equity, inclusion agenda has been abused. In the name of diversity, we have, at many of our universities, totally sacrificed diversity of thought. In the name of equity, we've perpetuated a lot of inequity and inequality of opportunity through affirmative action and otherwise. In the name of inclusion, we've created a new culture of exclusion where certain points of view aren't welcome. So especially in a university setting, what do I care about? Diversity of viewpoint. This is important, actually. I think diversity of viewpoint is part of what this country was built on. Well, the best way to foster diversity of viewpoint is to screen candidates for the diversity of their views, actually. Many look at the board members of many universities. You're going to go through their partisan affiliation. It's not 80-20. It's going to be like 90-10 in the other direction. That's completely at odds with the representation of this country.
Oh, it's more than that. Ben Shapiro's book called Brainwashed, it actually goes through a couple of universities where you're talking 97%, 98%, 99% in some cases of all the faculty voting for a particular political party use Democrat. So should be quite concerning when every single leader at a university is all singular minded. You're not really going to learn much if you're just studying one side of the equation.
So do I value diversity of viewpoint? Absolutely. Do I think we're doing a good job of that? No, we're not. And it's not an accident. In the name of diversity, we've actually created a new culture of conformity. And so I think it's entirely possible to have a group of 10 people who look similar to one another who have different views. I think it's entirely possible to have a group of 10 people who look different from one another, or who look the same as one another but have different views, or look different from one another and have the same views. And so I think the best way to screen candidates for the diversity of their experiences is to actually ask them about the diversity of their experiences. And I think the use of these racial and gender quota systems, I think have actually created a new form of racism in the United States that otherwise would not have existed. It's sad to me. I mean, I've hired, not because I was thinking about it consciously, plenty of black women in different positions of authority in this campaign or other companies or whatever. And I can tell you it saddens me when people look at somebody who I hired on the basis of merit and say that they only got that job because of their race or gender. That doesn't do anybody a favor. And so I think if we restore true meritocracy in this country and embrace true diversity of thought, chances are we're actually going to have a bunch of different shades of melanin and a range of genders in different positions. But let it be not the goal. Let it just be a byproduct of actually selecting for people who are the best person for the job and especially in a university setting, diverse viewpoints as well. That's what I'm saying.
And that's a good place for us to pause. We'll be right back with more from presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy.
Again, they got 1.4 million views on the Twitter and 19,000 likes. And I suspect they'll probably be overwhelmingly supportive of his original statement when you go to the comments section, but let's dive in and find out. Someone by the name of Hong says, quote, "If you care about someone, you tell them the truth, or at least what you believe. If you care about yourself, tell them what they want to hear," unquote. Spot on. I got 782 likes. Geoffrey Miller says, quote, "Well said. You understand exactly the central problem in American universities. We must restore mediocrity and viewpoint diversity. Many professors like me have waited decades for this issue to get serious national attention," unquote. Got 208 likes. Red Balloon says, quote, and they get an A+ for marketing because their profile picture is in fact a red balloon. Now, Red Balloon says, quote, "DEI, division, exclusion, and ineffectiveness," unquote. Got 144 likes. Andrew Krapchustis says, quote, "DEI, division, exclusion, and insanity," unquote. Got 339 likes. Glenn says, quote, "It's evil masquerading as good," unquote, getting 47 likes. Graham Reed says, quote, "Well done, Vivek. That woman is not Republican," unquote, getting 59 likes. And yeah, I would probably tend to believe that, especially when you look at, the way she phrased the question, and then just given the odds of where she was at geographically speaking, I don't think she's Republican. But it's fascinating how they'll do that, especially on CNN town halls, which this looks like it was also a CNN town hall. They'll have these pretend Republican voters be like, "Oh yeah, I have a question." And you're like, that clearly is not a question someone would ask if they were truly part of the Republican Party. But nevertheless, going back to the comments, you have Jackie Rutekako says, quote, "You have an excellent answer, the one people are waiting to hear, a common sense, inclusive, and humanity approach. Well done," unquote. Got 98 likes. Indian Tintin says, quote, "By leftist standards, even ISIS was diverse. It had many members from every racial background," unquote. Got 30 likes. Croxed Out says, quote, "This is one of the best explanations on the subject I have ever heard," unquote, getting 31 likes. Nanveet Kushal says, quote, "Awesome, Vivek. Thank you for speaking the truth so clearly. Hashtag Vivek Ramaswamy. You are speaking for millions. Landslide victory is awaiting you. All power to you. Thanks to hashtag Elon Musk for protecting free speech from mainstream media and channels. They better wake up sooner than later," unquote. Got 102 likes. Captain Cool says, quote, "You are nailing every question. I hope USA gets to see you in the leadership role. Vivek for president," unquote, getting 69 likes. Andre says, quote, "Brilliantly said. This happens in Europe too. Please fix it," unquote, getting 98 likes. Another top comment comes from Grueler. Grueler says, quote, "She is definitely not a conservative, maybe a rhino Republican at best. She's a clown for asking this question when there are way more important issues that need addressing," unquote, getting 42 likes. Let's see here. As I scroll down more and more, it looks like all overwhelmingly supportive of Vivek. So, again, I think this is going to be one of the top issues going to the election is, again, all these universities are becoming more and more just brainwashing centers, and we're seeing the effects that it's having on modern society, and the effects are not good. So I think there will have to be someone who addresses the big elephant in the room, or in this case, the big donkey in the room, and say, well, we do need some more diversity of thought as a society. That's where the best ideas are brewed to the surface. However, you have one side of the aisle that consistently embraces censorship and wants to have control of every medium of communication, which is quite concerning. It'll be interesting to see if there's any real way to bring about a positive solution. But as I always say, time shall tell. Thank you again for taking the time to tune in today. Again, I'm trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of December, so if you click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a comment is a great way to give me some feedback to let me know what I can be doing better and how I can improve the channel. Lastly, don't forget to take time to Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight,